It requires an accurate model of the environment. Failing to do so results in decision-making errors. It is a software agent that can learn from the past experience and improve its performance. It suggests the action to create new and informative experiences for the learning elements to improve its performance. Convert ideas into action based on AI decision. So it's going to make changes. Dear students, I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in computer science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Different types of agents. So in this session, we are going to talk about another two types of agents. They are utility-based agents and learning agents. Let us start with the definition of utility-based agent. So in our previous session, we have covered three different types of agents. Now in this session, we are continuing our discussion with utility-based agent. So what are these agents? So these are again AI agents that make decision based on maximizing a utility function or a value, and they choose the action with the highest expected utility, which measures the how good the outcome is. So if you look at this, the definition here, so the difference here is that say is going to maximize or is going to make decision based on maximizing the utility. In the sense, generally it is a user oriented, mean is going to work with the user satisfaction. So based on this, is going to work with, is going to choose the action with highest expected utility, which measures the how good the outcome is. So what would be the outcome of the result or the action, or the actions based on the percept? So what would be the outcome of this and how the happy the user is. So the goal-based agent, that it works based on that concept. In the next slide, see the diagram here. So if you look at the diagram, if you compare this with the previous diagram or previous agent, so here almost the components remain same. This environment, percepts or sensors, and here actuators, and this is the decision, and this is a state as we have seen in the model-based reflex agent, and here utility, this utility. And if you observe this, the one more component is this. This is the new component which has been included in this goal-based agent. It says that how happy I will be in such state. Or so normally how it is going to work, senses the environment and based on that is going to take action. What will it be if I do action A? So it will be having different types of actions based on different percept from the environment. Suppose if I choose the action A, then how happy I will be in such state. See, this is a component. Suppose if the action A is chosen for execution, so then how happy the user is or output would be, and what action I do. Now this is, and action will be taken place through actuators. So this is the component. One more component are included in utility-based agents. So this is utility. So this utility-based agent, it works towards the satisfaction of the user or the result. In the next slide, see the definition or another points. This helps them to deal with the complex and uncertain situations, more flexibility and adaptability. So it works based on, or we can say dynamic for different environment or dynamic environment. That is a one point. Next point is they often use it in applications. They have to compare and select among multiple actions. So what is the meaning of that? See what you have seen in the previous slide, section A. So here are action A. So similarly, it will be having number of actions A, B, C, D, E based on or depends on the percept from the environment, and it will be using any one of the action. Suppose action A doesn't work, or it is not going to reach the goal, or it doesn't fulfill the requirement of the goal, then it's going to choose another action from the agent. So that is the meaning of the sentence here. So it is going to take multiple options. There will be multiple action. It is going to select one among them. That is the how it works. Then how it is going to work? So here it aims to choose the action that led to high utility state, means high satisfaction rate, or you can assume that utility rate state in the sense how satisfaction or maximum satisfaction with the output is going to take action for this particular point. And to achieve this, it needs to model its environment, which can be simple or complex. So to achieve the goal, so we can have, or is going to choose the models, maybe a simple or complex model. It evaluates the expected utility of each possible outcome based on the probability distribution and the utility function. Is going to is going to evaluate based on the probable distribution. Next one is it selects the action with the highest expected utility and repeats this process at each time or each step. So it is generally is going to work with the high utility state, nothing but the maximum satisfaction in reaching the goal, and is going to select a particular action based on or among multiple actions in the agent. Now look at the example here. Example for this Anthropic Cloud. There is another AI tool whose goal is to help card members maximize their rewards and benefits from using cards, and is a utility based agent. See, look at the example like this. Suppose this is one of the two. So here a card members, they will be rewarded based on their action, and in that way it's going to benefit using the card. As and when the card members, they're using different types of cards, and there'll be option for rewarding option. So with the help of this is going to maximize the use of cards or the tool here. Next one is because to achieve its goal, it employs a utility function to assign numerical values representing success or happiness to different states. So this is nothing but you'll be having, or you're going to evaluate, or in other words we can say you can is going to get a feedback from the user about the each and every state. So if state or stage 1, how the customer is happy, how the user is happy, is going to represent in numerical values. Or generally what we can say, we are going to give feedback from the range from 0 to or from 1 to 10. So how normally we are going to give feedback between 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. So similarly is going to record or is going to provide an option for the user, is going to provide the success or success rate or how the customer is happy based on the numerical value that is for each and every state. This is second example. Now let us see what are all the advantage of this. Advantages is it handles wide range of decision making problems. Next, learn from the experience and adjust their decision making strategies. I mean, it works for a dynamic environment or changes in the environment dynamically. And it offers a consistent and objective framework for decision making. So these are the advantages. And what are the disadvantages of this model or agent is it requires an accurate model of the environment. Failing to do so results in decision-making errors. Obviously, it looks for an exact data or a percept from the environment. Otherwise, the chances of errors in making decisions. Then, computationally expensive and requires extensive calculation. This is because we are using this for complex problem, so it requires more number of calculations. Next point is does not consider moral or ethical consideration. Next one is difficult for humans to understand and validate. See, these are drawbacks of this utility-based agents. Next, we move on to another type of agent that is called learning agents. So, in the learning agent, now Let us see the definition of this. It is a software agent that can learn from the past experience and improve its performance. If you look at the definition of other types of agents, in a simple reflex agent, it works for the current percept. It will not work based on the past history. So, but in a model-based agent, is going to work with the existing percepts as well as the current percept with the model, even in the goal. But with respect to learning agent, is going to work with the past experience or nothing but history, and is going to improve the performance. Mean is going to learn from the history, current perspectives, and as well as the different types of models. Now, initially it acts with the basic knowledge and adopts automatically through the machine learning. So here we are using, or it is going to work based on a machine learning concept. Nothing but, it is going to learn, or this system make decision based on the current, past, and or from the experience of the actions taken. Example is Auto GPT. This is an example for learning agent. In the next slide, see the diagram here. So this diagram is totally different from other types of agent what you have seen so far. So here environment, here percept means percept through sensors, and effectors, or here we say effectors for taking actions. And apart from that, it has so many components. So one is performance standard, and this is critics, nothing but feedback, and changes is going to learning elements. So this learning element is going to change accordingly based on the percept from the environment. And learning goals, so here is going to generate a different model or different programs for different types of goals. And this is going to learn, and this final decision will be taken with the help of the previous history or feedback, or maybe from the knowledge or from the current percepts and from the experience. This is the nature of learning agent, or this is how it functions. Now this diagram is totally different from other type of reflex agents. In the next slide, we will see the main components of learning agents. One is learning element. Learning element is responsible for learning and making improvements based on experience it gains from its environment. So what you have seen in the previous diagram here, the learning element, this is one of the component. The responsibility is to learn from the experience or from the environment. Then critic, it provides feedback to the learning element by agent performance or predefined standard. So critic is going to provide feedback to the learning element. So if you look at diagram here, it's a critic. So it's going to provide the data to the learning elements. So learning element learn from this critic or from the environment. So next component is performance element. It selects and executes the external action based on information from the learning element and the critic. Another component. Next component is problem generator. See, this is a problem generator. The diagram, in the diagram we can see the component here, problem generator. So this problem generator, it suggests the action to create new and informative experiences for the learning elements to improve its performance. So problem generator is going to create a new and informative experience to the learning agents. So with the help of this, problem generator is going to help the learning element to get the more knowledge about the experience or from the current environment. These are the components of the learning agents or learning elements. In the next slide, how it's going to work or working of learning based model. Here, it follows a cycle of observing, learning, and acting based on the feedback. They interact with their environment, learn from the feedback, and modify their behavior for future interaction. So this is the definition of the learning agents or learning based agents, and this is how it works. So how it's going to work? By observation, observing the environment, getting a lot of information or gathering information from the environment, learning from the previous experience or the models, and action is based on the feedback, and these points we have seen in the diagram. So it is going to work based on this concept, and also is going to make changes or modify their actions or behavior by looking at the environment. This is the functioning of learning agent. And what is here the cycle works? First one is observation. So it's going to observe its environment or surroundings and get the input from the sensors. Learning. Second point is learning. This is going to analyze the data using algorithm and statistical models. So this data which are perceived from the environment is going to analyze with the help of different algorithms and also from feedback and actions and performance. Second point is learning is going to analyze the data from the environment. Next one is action. So the action is based on what it has learned, the agent acts in its environment to decide how to behave. So from the past experience is going to take action. Then feedback. The agent receives the feedback about their actions and performance through rewards or penalties or environmental cues. See, these are all different method of getting a feedback in different forms of feedback from the environment. Next one is adaptation. So using feedback, our agent changes its behavior and decision making processes. So based on the feedback, is going to adopt by themselves. Next one is this cycle repeats over time, allowing the agent to continuously improving its performance and adapt to changing circumstances. So this is another advantage of this. Plus point is that so this cycle repeats. So what is the cycle? So learning from the environment, learning from the feedback, and taking decisions and working with different dynamic environment. So it is going to continue to improve the performance. So this is the advantage of learning agents. Let us see the different advantages here. One is convert ideas into action based on AI decision. So it's going to make changes based on the decisions. Now, agent can follow basic commands like spoken instructions and or to perform a task. So this is another advantage of this. So it's a voice-based service, and unlike classic agents that perform predefined actions, learning agents can evolve with the time. So in general, different types of model what you have seen, so they are going to work with the predefined models or predefined algorithms, and but with the learning agent, they're going to learn or they're going to evolve with the time. I mean, is going to work or take a decision based on the current data or by changing the environment. Next one is it consider utility measurements, making them more realistic. So as we have seen in the utility-based models, that model is based on the satisfaction of the result or satisfaction of the output, how happy that this algorithm is, or how happy if I use one type of action. The AI agent consider utility measurements, making them more realistic. It means that so it is going to work with the satisfaction of the agents or to reach the satisfaction in reaching the goal or the steps taken or decision taken based on the reaching the goals or the realistic outcome of the goal. This is another advantage of this. In the next slide, what is the drawback of this? So here, prone to biased or incorrect decision making and high development and maintenance cost. Another drawback, requires significant computing resources, dependence on large amount of data, and lack of human-like intuition and creativity. So even though it is a machine or is a learning agent, it learned from the experience, previous experience or the feedback and so on, still it is lacking in human-like intuition, or creativity. These are the disadvantages of learning agents. Dear students, so far we have discussed about two types of agents. One is utility-based agents and learning agents. So let us continue our discussion in my next session. Thank you very much.